By the way, you can hear directly from Christine Holgate in the next hour when she joins Peter Credlin. But for now, let's catch up with Liberal Tasmanian Senator Claire Chandler, who joins us live from Hobart. Thanks for joining us, Claire. Do you believe this is the end of the Christine Holgate affair, or should the chairman of Australia Post lose his position?
Well, I'll make a couple of points here, Chris. And the first and the most important, and you highlighted it in what you just said now, is that the vast majority of Australians didn't accept that it was appropriate that government business executives should receive very expensive Cartier watches for the work that they undertook. And as you reflected in the clip that was played from Ms Holgate earlier, she has recognised that this was out of step with community expectations and what Australians expect to be happening at a government business enterprise. And I think fundamentally what should have happened at the time that this evidence came to light at Senate estimates back in October is that the leadership of Australia Post, including the board, should have made a clear statement that recognised that this gift was out of line with community expectations and determined that it would never occur again. So I think that's the missing piece of the puzzle here, and the board should take some responsibility for that.
Yeah, certainly they should, and so should Christine Holgate, because under questioning at the time, she sort of pushed back and said this has got nothing to do with taxpayers' money, we're a commercial operation. And so she needed to admit some error there as well. But obviously, Scott Morrison has admitted today that he overreacted in his rhetoric. This really led to her losing her job. It became untenable when he spoke so strongly in the Parliament. Is it too late to rectify that? She obviously can't be reinstated.
Well, the thing we have to remember here, Chris, is that this evidence came to light at Senate estimates under questioning from a Labor senator. It was Anthony Albanese, following that questioning and that evidence being revealed, who said that Christine Holgate should resign. So the PM was obviously then asked a question about it at question time that day, back in October, and he gave a response, and he rightfully identified that the gifting of these watches to these executives wasn't in line with community expectations.
Was Christine Holgate treated differently or more venomously because she was a woman?
Like I said, I think there was some genuine criticism levelled at Ms Holgate because these watches, the purchasing of these watches and the gifting of them wasn't in line with what Australians expected Australia Post. It doesn't pass the pub test. But I would like to think that there would be no corporate board, no media outlet in this country that should be treating people differently or criticising people on the basis of their gender. They should be criticising them on the record of their performance. But I also note that Ms Holgate has said that some of the most distressing things that she saw during this time was the media reports around what had happened, and that she found some of those comments sexist and that they went a bit too far. And you only have to look at what is happening to some of my female colleagues, some of the comments that they have received on social media and through the media levelled against them, to know that we do seem to have a bit of a problem with this country in how we are criticising public figures for the job that they're doing. And that criticism should never be on the basis of gender. It should be on the basis of their record and their performance.
Yep, I agree with that. But in the end, too, when they make a mistake, that they need to admit it quickly and clarify it. And I think that's where Christine Holgate and particularly the board have got questions yet to answer. The board has really neither defended her or apologised for the way it was handled. Just on these gender wars, obviously this is happening in a hyper-partisan environment. The gender issues are seen as a weak point of the government, and all of their enemies from the Labor Party and more broadly are lining up. Do you support gender quotas in the Liberal Party as a way to ensuring broader representation of women?
Look, I don't support gender quotas as a mechanism for the Liberal Party to ensure more women are elected to our parliament. You look at the class of 2019, the class that joined the parliament with me, and 50% of that was female. So we are making real inroads in this area without the need for gender quotas. And I think we should be very careful to not buy into this rhetoric of the left that we need to see women promoted or elected to the parliament purely on the basis of their gender.
Look, while we're on women's issues, there's been a lot of talk in recent years about gender issues and women's issues in the armed forces. And then on the weekend, we saw a Navy vessel commissioned on Sydney Harbour, and this was part of the official ceremony. I promise you, we'll play it for you any moment. Senator, do you have any problems with that?
Oh, look, it's not what I would personally find entertaining, Chris. And I know you said at the top of the program that my colleague Phil Thompson will be on to have a chat with you about that particular performance and whether or not it's appropriate in a defence setting. He's the expert here. I'll leave that assessment to him. But certainly not what I would be wanting to see at that sort of event. Not entertaining by any measure for me.
Thanks for joining us, Senator. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
A good hand pass by the Senator to her colleague Phil Thompson. He will join us later. He is an Army veteran, and we'll talk about that ceremony and other issues affecting defence in this country. And just a reminder again on the Christine Holgate issue, she'll be joining Peter Credlin in the next hour here on Sky.